Welcome back to Faith in the House. If you've been sitting with me a while now, come on in and take your usual chair. It does my heart good to see you back at this table. And if this is your very first evening here, if somebody who loves you passed this along, or you just wandered in on your own tonight, you are every bit as welcome. There's always a seat at this table, and always a fresh cup poured. This is the little corner of the world, where we take our plain, ordinary homes, and one small and simple thing at a time, we make them into holy ground. So pour yourself a coffee, settle in, and let's sit together for a bit. Because tonight I want to talk about the cheapest, plainest, most overlooked thing in the whole Catholic house. Something a lot of you have sitting in a drawer this very minute and only ever use one single way: blessed salt. And by the time we're done, you're going to see there are 9 good things you can do with it. And number 4, the one that guards the bedroom, is the one I think most of you have never been told. Stay with me. So let me tell you what set me on this tonight. Not long ago, one of my grandchildren, the little one, was standing in my kitchen watching me, and I had my little jar of blessed salt out, and I put a few grains at the back door, the way I do. And this child looks up at me and asks, plain as day, "Grandpa, what's the salt for?" And you know what? I opened my mouth to answer, and I realized the only thing I had ready to say was, well, it goes by the door. That's it. That was the whole of my answer. It goes by the door. And it stopped me cold, standing there in my own kitchen, because I've had blessed salt in my house my entire life, and when a child asked me what it was for, all I had was one small trick: the door. And I thought, that's a shame, Robin. That's a real shame, because there is so much more to this little bit of blessed salt than one spot by the door, and somewhere along the way, we forgot nearly all of it. So here's my honest opinion, right up front, and it's the thing I want to sit with you about. I think blessed salt might be the most forgotten sacramental we've got. Holy water, at least, we keep by the door, and we know it's there. But blessed salt? Half the people I talk to don't even know it exists. And the half who do have shrunk it down to one thing, a line at the threshold, and left it at that. And that's no fault of anybody's. Nobody ever taught us. The old grandmothers who knew took most of it to heaven with them. But there's a whole handful of good and holy uses for this plainest thing in your pantry, and I want to give them back to you tonight. All 9 of them. But before I give you a single one, I have to put a fence around this whole evening, and I need you to hear me, because everything else falls apart without it. Blessed salt is not magic. It is not a spell. It is not a lucky charm you sprinkle around to keep the bad luck out. No different than a horseshoe over the barn door. Let me back up and say what it actually is. Blessed salt is ordinary salt, the same salt in the shaker on your table, that the church has prayed over and set apart and handed to God. And the catechism could not be plainer about how a thing like that works. It does not pour out grace like a machine. By the prayer of the church, it gets our hearts ready to receive grace, and it moves us to cooperate with Him. Read that slow. The power is not in the grains, the gnet. A power is in the prayer the church prayed, and in the faith of the soul who reaches for it. So every single one of these 9 uses tonight, hear me, every one, is just a way of setting a prayer down somewhere with your own 2 hands. The salt is where you set the prayer down. If you ever catch yourself trusting the salt instead of trusting God, stop, because you've wandered off the road, and the church herself would be the first to walk out and bring you back. Alright, fence is up. Now let's walk through the 9. Number 1. And this is the oldest and the most important, so I'm putting it first. Blessed salt is what holy water is made of. Did you know that? Most people have no idea. In the old, traditional way the church blesses holy water, the priest doesn't just bless the water. First he blesses the salt with its own prayer, and then he stirs that blessed salt right down into the water, and the 2 together become the holy water in your font by the door. 2 sacramentals joined into one, so the very first and best use of blessed salt is this. If you have a little blessed salt and a container of holy water, you already understand that they belong together, and the reason the church reached for salt, of all things, is beautiful. Think what salt has always meant to people, long before there was a refrigerator humming in anybody's kitchen. Salt preserves. Salt keeps a thing from spoiling. Salt is what stood between a family and the rot all through the long winter. So when the church blesses salt and stirs it into the water, she's saying, let this household be kept. Let it not spoil. Let it last. That's number 1, and it's the root of all the rest. And let me give you the concrete step here, because there's a thing a lot of people don't know, and it matters. You and I, as lay people, we do not bless the salt ourselves. We can't. and we shouldn't try. The blessing, that praying over and setting apart, belongs to a priest or a deacon. So here's exactly what you do. You take a box of plain salt out of your own cupboard, an ordinary box, nothing fancy, and you carry it to your parish, and you ask Father to bless it with the church's blessing for salt. Many priests still keep the old blessing, and will do it for you right there in 2 minutes. Then you take it home, and now you have blessed salt, the whole box of it, for months and months, for pennies. And if you want holy water to go with it, it's the same thing. Ask Father, or fill a clean bottle from the font. Most parishes keep it free for the taking. That's the practical ground under all 9 of these tonight. A box of salt, a clean bottle, a 2-minute favor from your priest, and you are set for a year. Let me tell you about a woman I sat with. I'll call her Corinne. Corinne was a widow, lived alone, and for years she'd kept a line of blessed salt across her front doorway. And if I'm honest with you, she kept it there half out of fear. She'd read somewhere that it kept evil out, and she'd redo that line anxiously, and check on it, and fret when the draft scattered it. And one afternoon she told me about it, embarrassed, the way you'd confess something. And I said, Corinne, let's take the fear out of this and put the faith back in. That salt is not a wall holding something back. It's a place for you to set a prayer down. So here's what we did. We took that very same blessed salt, and instead of a fearful line on the floor, we stirred a little into a bottle of holy water for her font, and we kept a small dish of it by her bed. And now every time she touched it, she said one simple thing: Lord, this house is yours, and so am I. And she told me a month later, the salt hasn't moved an inch, Robin. But everything's different, because I stopped guarding and I started praying. That's the whole of it, right there, in one widow's front hall. Number 2, you can savor a few grains of it. You can taste it. Now this one surprises people, so let me explain, because I don't want anybody swallowing spoonfuls of it like it's some cure. In the very early church, when a person was preparing for baptism, they were given a few grains of blessed salt to taste, a sign of wisdom, a sign of the incorruption, the not spoiling, that God was about to work in their soul. And that old custom never fully died. To this day, a person can reverently take a few grains, a small pinch, at the start of a hard day, or stir a little into the family meal you're cooking, as a quiet prayer over the food and the people who'll eat it. But listen to me carefully, because this is exactly where it can go wrong. You do not eat blessed salt as a medicine. It is not a remedy. It does not cure a thing in your body. And if that's what anybody's told you, that is superstition dressed up in a Sunday coat, and it is not the faith. It is a sign. When you taste that little pinch of blessed salt, all it is, all it ever is your heart saying, Lord, keep me from spoiling, keep me from going bitter, preserve me. That's number 2. Number 3, when there is sickness in the house, a little blessed salt, used with prayer, has been a comfort to Catholic families for many hundreds of years. Now I have to say the hard part first, and I'm going to say it plainly, because I love you too much not to. Blessed salt does not heal anybody. It is not medicine. If someone in your home is sick, you call the doctor, you get them the care they need, and you do it without a moment's delay. And that itself is an act of faith, not a lack of one. All right, now that I've said that clearly, here is the beautiful thing our grandmothers did. When someone lay ill, they didn't just wring their hands. They would put a few grains of blessed salt on the windowsill of the sick room, or a pinch in the water they used to wipe a fevered brow. And while they did it, they prayed. They asked the Lord to be near, to comfort, to hold that suffering person in his hands. The salt healed nothing. The salt was where they set the prayer down, so their worried hands had something holy to do while their hearts cried out to God. That's number 3, and that's the only way to do it right. Number 4. Here's the one I promised you, the one that guards the bedroom, and I think it may be my favorite of all 9. Keep a small dish of blessed salt in your bedroom, and let it be part of how you hand over your sleep at night. Now think about what the bedroom actually is. It's the most defenseless place in your whole life. It's where you lie down in the dark, close your eyes, and go completely helpless for 7 or 8 hours. You can't pray with your mind while you're asleep. You can't guard yourself. Sleep is the one part of every single day where you have no choice but to trust God completely, whether you think about it or not. And so, a little dish of blessed salt on the dresser or on the windowsill is simply a visible reminder, the last thing your eye rests on before the lamp goes out, that says, this room, and this sleep, and this helpless body, I place in your hands tonight, Lord. It doesn't stand guard like a soldier. It isn't a force field humming in the corner. It's a marker, a small white sign in the dark, that you handed this room to God before you closed your eyes. And here's exactly how I do it, so you have the steps and not just the idea. A little dish, an egg cup, an old saucer, whatever you've got, with a small spoonful of blessed salt in it, sits on my dresser where I'll see it last. And when I turn off the lamp, I put my hand near it, not on it, near it, and I say the same short words every night. Lord, into your hands I place this room, this sleep, and everyone I love under this roof. Guard the ones I can't guard while I'm asleep. That's it. 10 seconds. And I'll tell you honestly, in my own home, that little dish has changed the way I lie down at night. It's not that I'm afraid without it. It's that with it, the last thought of my day is a prayer instead of a worry. That's number 4, the bedroom one. And I know exactly what some of you are thinking right this second, because I'd be thinking it too. Robin, isn't this just superstition with a Catholic coat on? A dish of salt to help you sleep? Come on. And that is a fair and honest question. And I want you to keep asking it, because the day we stop asking it is the day this turns into the very thing we're against. So here's the answer. Plain. It would be superstition if I believed the salt itself was doing the guarding, if I thought the grains had a power in them. But I don't, and you mustn't. The dish guards nothing. God guards. The dish is just the nail I hang the prayer on, so I don't forget to pray it. Take the prayer away, and the salt is only salt. Keep the prayer, and you could do the very same thing with an empty saucer. The salt is the reminder. The faith is the thing. Number 5, you can cast a little blessed salt over your garden, your soil, the ground where you plant. And this one comes straight out of the Bible, so let me tell it to you. There was a town in the days of the prophet Elisha whose water had gone bad, poisoned, bitter. The land itself was barren because of it. Nothing would grow, and children were being lost. And the prophet Elisha called for a bowl of salt, and he threw the salt into the spring, and he said, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed this water. There shall be no more death or barrenness from it." And the water was made sweet and wholesome from that day on. Salt, thrown on poisoned ground, and life came back. So when a Catholic takes a little blessed salt and casts it over the garden bed in the spring, or works a few grains into the soil where the tomatoes will go, it's an old prayer. Lord, bring life up out of this ground, bless the work of my hands, let this little plot be fruitful. It's not a fertilizer. It won't do a thing your garden center's bag will do. It's a prayer over the dirt. That's number 5. Number 6, carry a little of it when you travel. Now here I have to be gentle, because this is where a good custom slides most easily into a bad one. For centuries, Catholics setting out on a hard journey, over the mountains, across the sea, would carry a little blessed salt with them. Fishermen kept it on the boat, not because the salt was a rabbit's foot to keep the wheels on the road, but because when you're far from home, far from your own font and your own quiet corner, a little blessed thing in your coat pocket or your glove box is a way of carrying the prayer of the church out onto the road with you. When I take a long drive now, there's a little twist of it, just a few grains folded in a bit of tissue, tucked in the tray under my dash. And when I set out, I put my hand near it and I just say, Lord, go with me. Keep whoever's in this car and bring us home safe. Here's the concrete version for you. Fold a small pinch into a scrap of paper or a little pouch, tuck it in the glove box or a suitcase pocket, and when a trip begins, that's your cue to say a traveler's prayer, instead of just pulling out of the driveway, thinking about traffic. And I'll be honest about the danger in this one, because it's real. This is the use that turns into a rabbit's foot faster than any of the others. The second you start to feel like you can't leave the house safely without it, like the salt is what's keeping you on the road, stop, because you've handed your trust to a few grains of sodium instead of to God. And that's exactly backwards. The salt drives nothing. It steers nothing. It's the reaching for God at the start of the journey. That's the whole point. And you could reach for Him with empty hands just as well. That's number 6. Number 7. When you move into a new home, bless it with a little salt before you ever unpack a box. Oh, I love this one, and it's nearly lost. In the old days, before a family carried the furniture in, they'd walk the empty rooms of a new house and put a few grains of blessed salt in the corners. And they'd pray in each room, "This is going to be our kitchen, Lord. Bless the meals we'll make here. This is going to be the children's room, Lord. Guard their sleep." Walking the bare house and giving it to God, room by room, before it ever became home. And there's something so right about that. Doing it first. Before the couch, before the boxes, before the arguments about where the television goes, standing in the empty echo of a new place and saying, before anything else happens under this roof, Lord, this house is yours. That's number 7. And if you've got a young couple in your life about to move, you tell them about this one. Let me tell you about a family I sat with. I'll call them the Ansells. Young family, first home of their own, and they were nervous about it, the way you are. A big mortgage and a lot of unknowns. And an old aunt told them, before you move a stick of furniture in, walk it and bless it. And they thought it was a bit old-fashioned, but they did it. Took a little blessed salt, walked every empty room, put a few grains in each corner, and prayed out loud in each one, clumsy and unsure, not knowing quite the right words. And the young mother told me later that walking those bare rooms and handing each one to God before a single box came in, it took all the fear out of the house before they ever lived in it. She said, "We didn't move into a house, Robin, we moved into a house we'd already given to God." That's the fruit of number 7. Number 8. Use it to reclaim a room after a hard time. Now stay with me and don't let this one tip into fear, because it's a hopeful thing, not a frightening one. Sometimes a room in your house goes heavy. Maybe there was a terrible argument in the kitchen. Maybe there was a long, sad sickness in a bedroom, or a grief that soaked into a place, and the room can start to feel like it holds all of that. Now wait, let me say that more carefully, because I can feel this one wanting to tip over into fear, and fear is not what we do here. A room doesn't hold a spirit because you had an argument in it. It's not haunted. What I mean is simpler and truer. The room holds a memory, and the memory sits heavy on you when you walk in. So here's what a Catholic can do. Take a little blessed salt and go into that room and pray, out loud if you can. Lord, this is your room, and I take it back for you. Fill it with your peace where there's been sorrow. Fill it with your love where there's been anger. And you set a few grains down as you do it. Now, you are not casting out demons. That's not what this is, and it's not our lane. You're a parent, or a grandparent, or the keeper of that home, standing in a heavy room and handing it back to the God who owns it, sweeping it clean with a prayer, and then filling it with light. That's number 8. Number 9, and it's the tenderest. Give it away. Press a little of it into the hand of somebody who's afraid. You know somebody right now, don't you, whose house has gone dark on them, a widow rattling around alone and frightened at night, a family going through something awful, a grandchild moving into their first scary apartment in a rough part of a city. Take a little of your blessed salt and give it to them, and tell them what it really is. Not a charm. Tell them the truth. Tell them it's a way to set a prayer down in their new place, a sign that they are not alone and that the church and the people who love them are praying for that home. There is something about being handed a small, holy thing by someone who loves you. It says, "I'm thinking of you. I'm praying for your home. You are not on your own." That's number 9, and honestly, it might be the one that does the most good in this world. Now let me go under all 9 of these for a minute, because I don't want to leave you with just a list of tricks. I want you to understand why the church does this at all, why she takes plain salt and plain water and puts them in your hands. And it comes down to what you are. You are not a spirit floating around in a body like a ghost in a machine. You are body and soul, knit together, one whole person. And because that's what you are, God does not only speak to your soul with invisible ideas. He comes to you through things your body can touch, water you can feel, bread you can taste, salt you can hold between your fingers. That's not God stooping to something beneath him. That's God meeting you exactly where you live, in a body, in a house, in an ordinary Tuesday. And here's the deepest thing, and it's straight from the lips of the Lord himself. Jesus said, "Have salt in yourselves, and be at peace with one another." Have salt in yourselves. Do you hear it? All this blessed salt at the door, and in the garden and by the bed, all of it is meant to become salt on the inside. The grain of salt in your hand is meant to become a grain of salt in your heart. Something in you that preserves, that keeps you from going bitter, that holds the peace. The salt outside is only ever a lesson about the salt God wants to work inside of you. And I want to say something now to one particular person listening tonight. Maybe you're sitting there in a small place, an apartment, a rented room, a little house that's seen better days, with a leaky tap and a landlord who never comes. And a small hard voice in you says, "What's the point of blessing a place like this? It's barely anything. It's not a real home." Friend, I need you to hear me. This is exactly why God chose salt, the cheapest, plainest, most ordinary thing in the whole pantry. Not gold, not incense that costs a fortune. Salt, the thing every poor kitchen in the history of the world has had. He chose it on purpose, so that the widow on a fixed income and the family in the tiny apartment could make their home holy ground, just as surely as anybody in a mansion. Your little place, blessed and given to God, is every bit as much a domestic church as the grandest house on the finest street. Maybe more, because it's got less in it, competing for your heart. Don't you ever let anyone, especially that voice inside, tell you your home is too small or too poor to be holy. It is not. Now let me be straight with you, because this is the part I will not skip. The honesty turn. Blessed salt does not work like magic. And I need to say that one more time before you go, plainly, because this niche of ours is crawling with people who will tell you otherwise. If somebody tells you that a line of blessed salt across your doorway keeps evil out mechanically, like a bug spray for spirits, they are wrong, and worse, they've turned a beautiful sacramental into a superstition, and the church names that plainly as a sin against the first commandment. Salt on the floor does not stop anything by itself. And here's the other honest thing. Blessed salt cannot do the one job that only your own heart can do. It cannot make you pray. It cannot forgive the grudge you're holding. It cannot repair the marriage or call the estranged child. It is a sign that points you toward the God who can help with all of that, but it will never do the turning of your heart for you. That's the honest catch. The salt is the easy part. Your heart is the real work. And let me answer the questions I can hear some of you thinking right now, because they're good ones. What if I don't have any blessed salt? Where do I even get it? Simplest thing in the world. You take a little box of plain salt from your own cupboard to your parish, and you ask a priest to bless it. Most will do it gladly, right there, and it costs you nothing. What if my spouse thinks this is all a bit much? Then don't make a production of it. Do it quietly, in your own way, and let the peace in you do the arguing. Nobody was ever nagged into devotion, but plenty have been drawn by watching somebody they love grow gentler. And how often should I do these things? However often it helps you pray, and no more. This is not a set of chores God is grading you on. If a little dish of salt by your bed helps you hand over your sleep, keep it there. If it becomes one more anxious ritual you're afraid to skip, then you've got it backwards, and it's time to set it down and just pray. The measure is always the same. Does it help you turn to God? Then it's doing its job. So here's what I'd love you to do this week, and I'll give it to you in plain steps, so there's no guessing. Step 1. Sometime in the next few days, take a small container of ordinary salt from your kitchen, an old jar, a little dish, anything, and put it in your bag or your car. Step 2. Stop by your parish, catch Father after a Mass, or ring the office, and ask him, "Would you bless this salt for me?" It takes 2 minutes, and it will not cost you a penny, and most priests are quietly delighted to be asked. Step 3. Bring it home, and pick just one of these 9. Only one. Whichever one landed on your heart tonight. Maybe it's the little dish in the bedroom. Maybe it's blessing the garden come spring. Maybe it's pressing a bit into the hand of somebody you love who's afraid. Step 4. And this is the one that matters most. When you do that one thing, say a real prayer out loud while you do it. Not a formula. Just tell God what you're handing him. This room, this sleep, this person. Start with one, set the prayer down with your own 2 hands, one time, and mean it. And here's my honest promise to you. That one small act, done in faith, will do more for your home than a whole cupboard of blessed salt used out of fear ever could. This was never about the salt. It was always about the turning of your heart toward the Lord, and the salt is just the plainest, humblest little help he gave you to do it. Let me pray with you before you go. Lord, we thank you that you are not far off and grand and unreachable, but near and humble and willing to meet us through the plainest things, a little water, a little bread, a little salt from the kitchen shelf. Bless the homes of everyone listening tonight. Bless the doorways they walk through, and the beds they lie down in, and the tables they eat at. And Lord, let the salt they set down with their hands become salt in their hearts, something in them that preserves, that keeps them from growing bitter, that holds your peace through every hard hour. Keep every soul under every one of these roofs close to you. And where there is fear tonight, in a dark bedroom, in an empty house, in a heart that's tired, send your peace, the peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. We ask it in the strong and gentle name of Jesus. Amen. Keep your home holy. keep your people close, and I'll see you right back here. Bring a friend, and do me a kindness before you go. Tell me in the comments which of the 9 you'd never heard of, and which one you're going to start with this week. I read every single one of these, and I love hearing what corner of your home you're handing over to God. Grace begins at your own front door.